computer.
All right. Hi guys. Hi everyone. We are back again. It's Chinwe and it's Sandy. We're here on a Zoom call, speaking how you could live with intention and you could live with so much purpose and you could achieve what you want to achieve, but still having lived life fully. And last week we spoke about self accountability, checking in with yourself throughout. You could set a time frame or whatever, but just make sure you talk to yourself and check in how you're doing with your goals and make sure your money is where your mouth is when it comes to setting your goals. But today we are saying, goals aren't enough. We need something bigger. A bigger theme, kind of aspiration. So I would pass the question over to Sandy. What's actually the difference, between a goal and now an aspiration?
Yes. Hi, thank you. And hello, everybody again. Yeah, this is really important, especially at the beginning of the year, where we all set resolutions or goals or our word of the year, things that we're going to do differently versus last year, which is great. That's an awesome annual check-in. The thing that is really important and that I would encourage you is to take whatever you've come up with for your goals or your resolutions, etc., and turn that into an aspiration. An aspiration really gives you the why. So the motivation later on when you're checking in with yourself and some of your goals that you set are really hard and you start to lose them, usually about March. So it doesn't take long, 3 months, you start to lose it. Having an aspiration is going to continue to provide your why. So that is the difference. And so taking your goals, your resolutions, asking 3 times, why is this important to me? You'll get up to your aspiration.
Okay. I'm thankful you mentioned, asking yourself why 3 times to get to to get to the meaning of your goal, really, which is your aspiration. So can you walk us through your own example? You've given a personal example
Yeah.
about losing the COVID pounds to that vision from that you have with your grandkids. So is that something you have to ask yourself why 3 times? That's the
Yes,
technique of asking why.
that's it. Yeah. So when, um, during COVID, I put on the typical 19 pounds. So I like to say it was my COVID-19, which was terrible. And then I wanted to lose that. And working out all the time, lifting weights, etc. And it gets really hard doing that. So when I ask myself, well, why am I trying to lose this weight? Why is that important to me? And part of it as well, as I'm aging, I want to get stronger. I want to protect my joints, etc., because as you age, they can start to give out. I ask myself that again. Well, then why is that important to me to get stronger and to, um, uh, strengthen my joints, etc.? And the reason I came up with is because I want to be more mobile. I want to have a high quality life going forward as I continue to age. And ask one more time, why is it important to me to have a high quality life as I age? And the answer is so I can be there for my grandkids and play with my grandkids. So that vision of me playing with my grandkids on the floor is something that restores me when it's like, okay, I can do one more squat. I can lift a heavier dumbbell here. And that vision is what keeps me going rather than just thinking, oh, I need to lose 19 pounds. And just to build on that then, so that same aspiration is one that I've had for the last 5 years. And what my goal is for this year with under the aspiration is that I want to be able to do the sit down, stand up test from the floor without touching. And that's actually a test. You can go look it up if you want, where you can give yourself a score. And I want to actually be able to do that better this year. So that is what's motivating me. Get off the floor so I can play with my grandkids because they're getting up and down and running around all the time. I need to chase them. How's that?
So we should, continue.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Let's piggyback off, playing with grandkids. That sounds like beautiful. It's a beautiful aspiration to have, but how does that like actually help? Maybe on a random Tuesday or Tuesday morning when you don't want to get up out of bed, or like work out or just do a simple exercise. In that moment, what's different? How do you actually get out of that? How do you use this aspiration that you've gotten, you've come to the realization of, to help you get out of a random rut you find yourself in, on a random Tuesday?
Yes. Yes. So I think of that vision. So I have a mental vision of me playing with my grandkids where, um, they're hugging on me and they're saying, "Come on, Nana, let's go, move like this." And it's like, okay, if they're telling me to move, man, I do what they say. So I am going to get out of bed. I'm putting my feet on the floor. And I tell myself, all right, let's just do it for just 10 minutes, and then I get up and I start working
Mm-hmm.
out, doing my stretches for 10 minutes. And that picture of it, of course, I end up doing it for much longer. So it's just that vision that I have
Mm-hmm.
of playing with them. Yeah.
Yes, I totally understand. The mental hurdle of, trying to do something, or the difficulty we think we would face while trying to do something isn't even, it's not nearly as much as the pain of actually doing it. It's just the action of just getting out of bed that's the most burden. Working out or like exercising or like doing the things we said we do, it's not as difficult as we envision it to be. But thank you for clarifying. I would like to go on to the six strategies you mentioned. You mentioned a lot. You laid out six life strategies, kind of from, or taking inspiration from the wheel of life, to excel in your livelihood, secure financial investment capabilities, build, maximize who you know, love the one you know. And that can be a lot. So are you saying we should have aspirations in these different areas or endeavors of our life, or can we just focus on one?
Yeah. So the thing that is important, and what often keeps us from the goals that we set for the year sometimes is that we don't know which direction or how that all fits together. So for me, setting the aspiration for my health and wellness so that I can play with my grandkids is for one area of my life. Um,
Mm-hmm.
to be really balanced so that you're, putting your all into it and being able to make better choices when your inner critic starts to hammer at you and say, no, you don't need to do this, just stay in bed, is to think about where you're going for your life. So to take that same exercise of asking yourself, why is this important, 3 times and ratcheting it up to an aspiration, to do that for all areas of your life. And maybe, it's for the next 5 years. What's your aspiration and what are some of your goals across all areas of your life? And in my book, Zest for Living, I have an exercise which is called creating your roadmap. And
Yeah.
within your roadmap, and maybe you just do that once every 5 years and then check in with yourself every year to see if your aspirations are still the same because life happens, right? Things change. Doing
Mm-hmm.
that 3 times up for the areas of, excelling in your livelihood, your career, whatever you do for the day, that keeps you busy, brings in income, brings you, value that you give to others as well. The other one is to maximize your financial capacity. So having your finances in order, your things that you want to be able to do to fund all of your social systems, your travel, etc., which is a third area of strategy is how you have fun in things you want to do. A fourth one is to invest in love. So your love relationships, somebody doesn't have to be a partner or spouse, could be, a very close friend who has your back, someone you trust and love you can share things with. And then the other one, which is really important, that comes from checking in with yourself and how you're doing on these goals, is um, to really learn who you are as a person, what's your authenticity, how you're going to show up And this helps you to make choices as you go through life for each one of these other life strategies. It also helps you to find what's most meaningful you in your life. So these are 6 areas, but you can't focus on them all at the same time. If you have the aspiration for all of them, you can have this vision for yourself and what your life looks like in 5 years from now, let's say. And then you can choose a focus that you're going to have for this year and continue to check in. But as decisions come up where you need to make a choice, you can look at, okay, how's that going to work for this area of my life, but how is it going to impact the other ones? So, for example,
Mm-hmm.
if you want an example, it could be maybe um, financially you're going to work 2 or 3 jobs just so you can have enough money that
Yeah.
you can move out of your parents' house or something like that, right? Well, the thing is you need to have an aspiration also for your personal health and wellness, because you don't want to work yourself so hard against that aspiration and the goals that you set for yourself financially that you would, cause your body to break down or have mental stress or mental health issues, etc. So you don't want to cause an issue in one other area of your life. So having the aspirations and just kind of parking it there as a mental vision will give you direction so that as you focus for the year, let's say, or the next 6 months, that you know where you're going and that you're balanced across all areas of your life. Is that clear, or
Mm-hmm.
should I explain that a little bit more?
Yeah, I like how you gave a real scenario because realistically, I mean, people can just pick one or like one focus or one or two focus areas to really go, go hands on. And I know that could cause some sort of imbalance. And I like how you've given an example because I was going to ask you of an example like what does that actually look like in someone's life, but you've given an example of, hey, I'm chasing financial freedom, but at the end of the day, my physical health is also suffering, my mental health is also suffering. So I know I have to now balance my me chasing financial freedom with also my health because I want to have an aspiration where I'm also healthy, I'm healthy enough to have fun with my friends. I'm healthy enough
Yeah.
to, be with my loved ones and the like. So yes, having aspirations for these 6 areas, 6 different areas, it does give you a mental picture of, what you want out of life. And then you can see clearly that this one area is impacting this other area. This one action I'm
Yeah, that action, yeah, you froze there for a minute. I think you were going to say that one area of your life needs the more attention to keep going. Um, and you can focus on that one, but still keep the big picture in mind. So that's a key thing.
So, what's like a starting point or like a good starting point for someone listening right now who genuinely doesn't know what they want? Where do they even start from? Where would you say is a good place to start from? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the first thing to start with is taking those 6 areas of your life. And, I've got some free templates for download in my link in bio profile. And that can help you through those 6 different areas. But you can use some different tools to kind of come up with a vision board or a mind map for each of those 6 areas to help you think about what your aspiration is for as long as you can see. A lot of people get really stressed out. Oh my God, I don't know what I want to do in life. So this is what's, bothering me. Well, shorten it then. How far can you see in the future about what you really want for your life, right? Start with your aspirations. Maybe it's you start with the one that's easiest because that's where you're feeling the most pain or the most need to get clarity on, and then take what would be a goal and then ratchet it up 3 times. Why is that important to you? And then that'll get you started where you can start thinking about the other 5 areas of leading a high quality, intentional life. And then once you have those aspirations, you can do some prioritization. So, what of those 6 areas is causing me, where am I most dissatisfied? Where do I have the biggest issue, which would be the biggest gap between where you are now and where you want to be as far as you can see. Maybe it's just 6 months out, maybe it's a year out, maybe 5 years out, where you want to be, what you want to be doing, et cetera, as an aspiration. So where are you now? Where are you going to be? Level of satisfaction, but then also for where you are right now, what's most important to you. And take that area as the life strategy that you're going to focus on, perhaps for this year or for the next couple months. Set some goals with that one and then some next steps. So we call this is something you would be doing in a self-coach conversation, which is what my book is all about, is a self-coach framework to bust barriers. So it leads you through how to have those conversations with yourself. And one of them is about what you really, really want and what's most important for you to focus on right now. So that's a place to start. Once you've got your roadmap, then you take it from there to break it down into what your mile markers are, your goals for the area of your life that's causing the most pain or has the biggest gap. And then you coach yourself through any potential barriers you could see to do that, what could get in your way, how to prepare for that, choosing a route, choosing a first step to get going, and then setting another check-in self-coach conversation with yourself to see how you're doing. That's a lot, but you can get the book, follow through. The first step you asked is the place to create your roadmap. Doesn't have to be perfect. You come back and change it in a couple months, but at least start with something that is an aspiration for each area of your life.